thank you so much for coming onto our podcast. We are Habano del Podcasto, and we are honored to have you on as guests. So, for the viewers out here, these are the legendary cigar personnel in the UAE. They're the owners of LeafMaster, which is one of the best cigar shops in Dubai, and now they've opened up in Abu Dhabi as well. And yeah, we're in this lovely place, so we're very honored to be in their company, and we'd love to smoke a cigar with them and discuss their background and how they got into this business.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, congratulations, gentlemen, for opening your Abu Dhabi branch.
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank you.
we haven't been there yet. We are planning a day trip, the three of
Yes,
us, to
on
go
the
there.
cards.
But by
Super.
the images and the videos we're seeing all over social media, it looks stunning. So, would you mind sharing with us, like, why Abu Dhabi next?
Sure. First of all, it's indeed our honor to be here. Thank you for selecting the LeafMaster. It's been a long way for Abdul and I. Very fun ride, very humbling ride, and we'll talk more in details later. But Abu Dhabi is we started in Dubai in 2017 when we registered the company, and Dubai shop actually opened. We started out of a Samsonite bag, literally. We
Really?
started with 7 SKUs, 7 kinds of cigars in a Samsonite bag, going from one hotel to the other. And I remember my late father, bless his soul, he was like, "Are you okay? Did you lose it? Did you lose your marbles? What the hell's going on?" Going from a super corporate job, C-suite, whatever, all of that, as they call it. I'm like, I love it. This is what we want to do. It grew. We opened the first shop in Dubai, our first child really, in December 2018. And we've been in Dubai all this time. And it was just time for us to expand into other parts of the UAE as part of our strategy.
Yep.
And Abu Dhabi was the natural selection. We have amazing clients from Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi is going through an amazing boom, and we wanted to be part of what's going on in Abu Dhabi. And the way we got into Abu Dhabi was very humbling, because sometimes the way circumstances present themselves is a message that you have to hear from God.
Mm.
And the message that we got, it was a random thing. We just called the Rosewood Hotel, and we're like, we plan to open in Abu Dhabi. And the guy's like, "Are you joking? Did you hear about something?" I'm like, no, what are you talking about? He's like, "Can you come tomorrow?" I'm like, sure. So we come, and he's like, "We have this location. We have two very extremely high-end brands that are pitching for it. And we'd like you also to pitch for it, because the owners love what the LeafMaster has been doing for the whole cigar industry." And when we got to know the two brands, we're like, we can't pitch against those people. These people are huge names. They're like, "Just pitch, please," because they love what you're doing. We pitched, we got the location. And the whole idea in Abu Dhabi was to keep the spirit, if you may, of the LeafMaster. So Abu Dhabi definitely was a super upgrade in terms of our shop in Dubai, because the shop in Dubai, the whole idea for us was we wanted to remove the chip on the shoulder of a cigar shop.
Yes.
We didn't want it to be dark. We didn't want it to be all dark Van Gay wood. We didn't want it to be intimidating. We wanted you to come in and be inspired. You walk into Dubai and you see a basketball hoop, and people are like, "Why?" I'm like, that's exactly it. To get you inspired, to get you to feel comfortable in the place. The barber seat, etc.
Yeah.
These are interesting things. So we did the same thing, and we took that forward in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi has amazing design features, and I actually did a post about the design features of Abu Dhabi, which was an inspiration that went on from our clients and what have you. Abu Dhabi was the natural evolution.
Can I just add to that something, right?
Please.
And I think what's really important is if you look at our customers, right?
Yep.
Our customers in Dubai, in our Dubai shop, were primarily from Dubai, but we had a lot of customers who would drive on a regular basis from Abu Dhabi to Dubai to buy cigars. And they kind of pulled us there, right? They would tell us, when are you going to open in Abu Dhabi, right? And we got, in Dubai, it was a push thing. We opened it, we created it. In Abu Dhabi, part of it was we were being pulled there by our customers, right? They were constantly asking us, when are you going to open in Abu Dhabi? And this is really a big part of the reason, right? We believe in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi is the capital. Abu Dhabi has a lot of potential.
Correct.
The Abu Dhabi cigar community, I think, is quite different from the Dubai cigar community.
Really?
It is.
Yeah.
It's quite different, right? I think it is more formal in a way. I think a lot of people in Abu Dhabi smoke at home with their family. If you look at the cigar lounges in Dubai versus the cigar lounges in Abu Dhabi, it's different, right? There are much more cigar lounges in Dubai. Abu Dhabi, the culture more. There are really nice cigar lounges in Abu Dhabi, right? But a lot of people buy it and smoke at home with their friends, right? Which is very, very different from what you see in Dubai.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why we opened the shop in Abu Dhabi.
And of course, Abu Dhabi was very important because when you tap into Abu Dhabi, you're automatically tapping into Lain.
Yes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So you end up getting that trifecta between Lain, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, which is perfect and connects to pretty much the rest of the Emirates, for which we have future plans for sure.
No,
The funny thing is now those people that we see in Dubai, I see them in the Abu Dhabi shop, right?
Yeah.
And it's really nice to just like with you guys, we'll come to your story right in a second, but it's so nice to go into the shop in Abu Dhabi and see the people that were coming from Dubai. Our first customer in Abu Dhabi was a gentleman from Dubai, right? Put a post on Instagram saying we will open on I think it was the second on first at 1 p.m.
Second, yeah.
This person was there at 12:30. Honestly, he was there before us, right? And we went in and we got there, and the guy was waiting outside for us at 12:30, right?
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is, and he was our first customer. We have a picture of him.
What I noticed as well in the shop, again from the pictures and the videos, is that it kind of gives you a little bit of an experience that is different from Dubai's experience,
Correct.
which is something I think everyone is going to appreciate, because even though there is the LeafMaster in Dubai, but as I said, the three of us we actually want to go and see the experience in Abu Dhabi because it's quite a little bit different. They have the shop, the experience, the vibe of the shop itself.
Correct.
And by the way, I love the carpet you guys have over
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, so that is one of the things that were highlighted in the video I was looking at.
There's a story. Dred will tell you the story behind the carpets.
Yeah, please share.
Which car?
The carpets in the shop in Abu Dhabi, so it was supposed to be very different, right?
Yeah.
This is exactly how we do everything, and this is what I love about Raed. He is the most creative person I've met in my life by far. By honestly, by far, right? So there was a design.
Your wife is not going to like this one.
You're 10 times more. You're 10 times more creative than her. But don't. She's not going to be watching.
We'll see.
No, but really, there was everything is a story. Everything we do is just kind of very natural, very real. So that carpet there was supposed to be different, right? It was supposed to be kind of a Persian rug feel, right?
Yeah.
And then we looked at it and we were thinking there was something not right. And one day Raed went to buy the things, and he sent these pictures. He said, "What about this?" Yeah, and I said, "I love it. This is it is very different from what we wanted to have.
Yeah.
It really fits in nicely, right?" Yeah.
Look, I mean, the carpet has a funny. The choice of the material has a very interesting story because the whole place was a public area. What people don't know is where the Abu Dhabi shop today was a public area that respectfully leads to the bathroom area on the right. So you had the full area there, and they told us, "This is your shop." I'm like, "Yeah, where is it?" He's like, "This is your shop." I'm like, yeah, I'm looking. Where is it? And he's
no
like,
shop there.
No. You need to build the shop
All from scratch.
from scratch.
It was just a walkway.
But the floors, we never change the floors. One thing we do not do is change the floors. So if you look at the one in Dubai, the cement that was there, we never changed it. So Abu Dhabi was marble because it was a public area in the hotel. So we were like, okay, so we will use the marble. But then we realized having marble on multiple levels is just, how shall I say, it's monotonous, it's boring. And we decided to link that to cigars. So we decided, so let's do the three elements of cigar, or the wrapper, the binder, and the filler, and to go from marble to carpet to parquet. The carpet, we wanted something that goes with the culture and everything. And every time we get something that is a Persian rug and stuff like this, it did not feel right. So we decided to go very modern. And I remember when I got that rug, he loved it. But a lot of people, including my wife, were betting against it. They're like, what
Again,
the
Imam and your
hell
wife.
is that?
We're both in trouble now.
You know? And that was my...
going out on YouTube.
And when I installed it, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, this is beautiful. This goes, what's it called?" And it was the circles that look like cigars when they're stacked up on top of each other.
No, definitely, and it adds a pop to
Yeah.
to the place, and that's
Yeah.
what I actually
Yeah.
noticed from the first video.
Can I just one last thing about the rug? Because we're talking a lot about the rug,
It's,
but
it's a rug spot.
it-
Yeah,
it-
on the
it-
wall,
it
so
is.
we can do
the,
that.
the colors in the rug, right, are very similar to our logo, right?
Logo.
Yeah.
And our logo, there's a reason behind it. If you look at our logo,
right
our
there.
logo, it has the 3 shades of when a tobacco plant goes. It first is green, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then you pick it, put it in a drying barn, it goes brown, yeah.
Yes.
And then you ferment it and age it, it goes dark brown, yeah.
Mhm.
That's the cut. That's the thing behind that.
So
and
from the green to the yellow to the orange to the brown.
Yeah.
You know.
and that rug has those same
Exactly.
shades,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
all by coincidence, right? This all just happened, not by design. Let's move on.
But the whole idea is to give a modern, comfortable, relaxed look
Yeah.
to what the LeafMaster is, rather than making it something that's very on the edge, very stressed.
So how do we get access to your VIP room?
Oh.
Yeah.
So that was another thing. So that shop, if I remember correct, is 16 meters.
Right.
Okay, so you walk in when we first opened it, we're like, this feels like a train station. You need to break the shop.
Yeah.
And the way we managed to do so is because it had an elevation, it was multi-leveled. We said, okay, so let's put a limitada room at the back and put all the limited editions there. Let's create the concept of a limited edition room. And then we put the stripes on top that resemble cigars and also are the colors of the LeafMaster. So that broke the fact that you walk into a shop that feels too long. Now, in terms of size, the Abu Dhabi shop is 2.5 times the size of Dubai shop, because the Dubai shop is about 27 square meters. Abu Dhabi shop is about 75 square meters. So it's a different ball game for us. It was a different animal to deal with. And people are absolutely loving the limitada room.
Yes.
We were worried at the beginning that the limitada room might end up being an intimidation. How shall I say it? Maybe a bit too pretentious and what have you. But fact of the matter is that you really separate people that want this or that. We're not saying that cigars are. I mean, if you look here, there's probably 2 cigars from the limitada room. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So the whole idea is to give you the environment that you need when you're there at the shop.
Especially some people come in and want for gifting, for example, want
Exactly.
limited editions,
Yeah.
right? And then when they ask you that question, you have to go all over the shop to find them in Dubai, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people come in looking for gifts and only want to collect limited editions, for example, right? Not to smoke. It makes it really nice to do that.
And also, when you first opened up, the first day, I remember Adham sent me the Instagram post, and he was like a kid in a candy shop. You know, it's like, wow, look, we've got a VIP room. We need to go to Abu Dhabi. We need to go and try it out. So it clearly made a splash on social media,
That's true.
which is what you want.
Because
Yeah, 100%.
out of the 3 of us, I think I'm the last one to actually get into cigars.
Really?
I've started smoking cigars because of those 2 gentlemen. So we were bored at work, and then they used to go down to Boon Cafe in the same building, smoking a cigar. And one day I was like, I'm jealous. I want
I want
to
to
do
try
this.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I went down with them, and that was like around 6 months ago, 7 months ago.
Huh?
And that's when I actually got into it. And then the quality of the conversation that we were having, the 3 of us, while enjoying a cigar, was miles better than the conversations we were having without the cigar.
Without cigar.
And then one day I decided to, okay, let's just go ahead and record this. I put my phone on without them knowing and started recording the conversation.
That's amazing.
Listen to it at home, and they're like, this is really nice. And I think that's what cigars kind of did to our conversation, and that's the same thing where the experience goes to every time we look at content that has cigars, or even go to a cigar shop, the whole conversation, the actual vibe that between the 3 of us is completely changed.
Yeah.
And it goes to a much relaxing environment before even lighting a cigar. And that is, I think, what I felt when I was looking at the pictures and the images of the shop, and I sent them to Amar. I was like, Amar, we just need to go there. Like, we need to drive to Abu Dhabi, just go in, spend, I don't know, an hour of our day just enjoying, what we're seeing, which leads to basically how also, Tolham started his journey. And I think a big part of his cigar journey was from the LeafMaster.
100%. But before we jump into that, you just mentioned lighting up a cigar, and I think It's been we've been talking about
Yes.
what cigars
Time
and
to light up.
And
looking
buds,
at that,
basically.
That
tray,
gorgeous
you know what
tray.
I mean?
Yeah,
And,
Tallham's hands are shaking
Yeah.
now.
hands are just shaking right now, so let's just jump
Adam,
into
I'm
it.
on board with you. My hands are also shaking.
All right,
So
great.
what do we have in the tray there?
Okay, so what we have in the tray is a great selection. Obviously, the LeafMaster is a company that has over 900 cigar options
Wow.
in each of its shops, spread over in excess of 35 premium cigar brands. Now, what does that mean? That means when somebody comes to the shop, when a client comes to the shop and tells you, what's your favorite cigar? That's a very difficult question to answer. That's like somebody coming to you and telling you, I have two daughters, he has three sons. Which one's your favorite? It's
Yeah.
very difficult. It depends on, with cigars, it depends on what time of the day, what are you eating, what are you drinking, what's your mood,
Which people are you smoking
which
with?
people
Yes.
are you from? Are people that are hardcore into cigars or people that are, starting and all of that stuff. So we chose for you a selection that's a combination of where we started, brands, award winners, brands that are important to us, etc., etc. So I start from the right, and this is the Furia by DH Boutique. Didier is by far one of the top blenders of tobacco. He learned that in Cuba and then took his favorite seeds, went to Nicaragua, established a great relationship with AJ Fernandez, and he creates those cigars. This is important for me because this is one of the from the box, one of the first boxes Didier gave us. So this is the beginning, very much the beginning, and that was the first brand we spoke to. That was the first person that received our call and told us, well, if you guys are serious, fly down to Nicaragua, which is what we did.
Yep.
The second one is a little secret. There's a lot of cigars that are there that people don't look into, and we kind of don't promote because we don't want people to discover them, because if they discover them, they're not going to be there anymore. Okay, and it's by Oliva. Okay, and it's just phenomenal. The third one was the first initiative that we had in terms of a blend and a branding with another brand. So with El Septimo, we did the Dubai edition, okay, which I remember when the blend came, and it was a young cigar. I smoked it, and I called, and I'm like, this is way too strong. And he's like, right, relax, give it some time, and now it is absolutely sublime. Awards are very important, but it does not mean that you smoke the ring or just look at the award. But sometimes awards are so well deserved. So, for example, Oliva Figueroa, number one cigar 2014, phenomenal. It's one of those cigars that you fall in love with every time you smoke. Yes. A lot of people ask me, what's your favorite cigar? I'm like, by the way, cigars are exactly like, for example, coffees or wines. The best one is the one you love the most.
Yeah.
And an expensive coffee does not mean it's a good coffee. An expensive bottle of wine does not mean it's a good bottle of wine. I can give you a bottle of wine for $8. That's phenomenal.
100%.
Cigars are very much the same. The Judge, this year's number one, from my father's cigars. I think this cigar should have been number one ages ago, if you ask me. But the judgment is in, and it won this year. This one, the Lancero, was the cigar that we did with Adventura. It even has the LeafMaster on it. And this cigar is the cigar we're going to be giving away at the official opening of the Abu Dhabi shop.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
it's
a
also
beautiful cigar.
it's a beautiful cigar. That's the one you're smoking, by the way.
Oh,
And
I'll be honored.
and we did it in celebration of the opening of the shop.
Can I just, this is ode to Raed's creativity. The reason we picked Adventura for Abu Dhabi, the letters AD, right? Abu Dhabi, Adventura.
So you look at the box, the AD is in black.
Black,
Yeah.
As in
bold.
Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
The same thing with Aladino. We did another box, an amazing 70 cigar box with Aladino, 24 boxes only, also the AD. So we used that. Plasencia, also the Cosecha 151, is the number one cigar by Cigar Journal this year. Amazing. One of my personal new release favorites, and this is what I call love at first puff, is the new AJ Fernandez Brazil
Yes.
smoke from the Diaz Gloria brand
Wow.
by AJ Fernandez. I think delicious is an understatement.
This cigar has been blowing up online, by the way.
Oh,
yeah,
kind
it's just
been blowing up
phenomenal.
online.
It's just phenomenal. Another cigar that we've done, because there's a technology that we apply, which is laser etching on the cigars with a brand of cigars called Henk. And we've done a limited edition in the 50th anniversary of the UAE Union.
Mhm.
And this is a cigar from that. Absolutely phenomenal, from the private stash of AJ Fernandez. So it is super 10-year plus aged tobacco, and it's just sublime. The last one, the idea was to have two cigars for each. The last one, but definitely not the least, is Money to Burn. So Principal Cigars, okay, we got in touch with them, and because we are in the Middle East and all of that stuff, there was the whole idea about oil and burning oil and all of that stuff. So the gentleman behind Principal is an avid collector of vintage paper.
Right.
So the box actually has an expired or redeemed bond for one of the oil companies, okay, that is real.
Wow.
And the foot is also done with the bond itself. So, as you can see, the beauty about all those cigars is the story.
Yes.
The story is so important. And that's exactly what I love about my team, and that's what we train our team. We're very big about training, is for them to tell you the story. He will tell you the wrapper, the filler, the binder. He will tell you. We will never get into, is this a good cigar or a bad cigar? I will never sit there and tell you, I am tasting this and I'm tasting that, and it's oaky, and sorry about that.
It's okay.
But what we want to tell you is what kind of strength you're expecting, what kind of body you're expecting, and what are the leaves used, and definitely the story behind that cigar.
Wow.
After that, who's gonna smoke what?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
without further ado, uh,
Tallham with the Lancero.
Signore Mohammed Lancero.
Stop. Thank you.
My pleasure. I want to push your palate.
I would be honored. Thank you so much.
And look
sir.
at this. It's
Wow.
when you look at the cellophane of the cigar, and
Mhm.
it's like, what do we call the color?
Brown.
They have a word for it.
Both of them don't.
Yeah, there's that. It just shows how aged that cigar
Because
is.
cellophane usually is clear,
Yeah.
right? And as cellophane ages, it gets darker, right?
Okay.
So if you have, go ahead, please.
No, after you.
After you. طيب, huh?
And I love the ribbon that's
The ribbon, yeah.
on the
So the
cigar.
story of the ribbon is really interesting. So this brand, talk about story, used to be called Bulldog. Yeah, when it was the first we'll talk about our business, how we started, and then somebody
So what I'm gonna do is cigar service. Sorry, I cut you off.
somebody went and the
I
guy
will cut your cigar, and you will decide how to light it. Would you
Alright.
like to cut or decide light your cigar? You can do both if you want.
I'd be honored if you can cut it with a punch, if preferably,
You would like it with a punch? I
If it's
actually did
available.
not get a puncher.
or a V cut is fine for me.
A V cut on this? Sure,
Yes.
no problem.
so as Raed said,
yeah.
that was one of the first cigars that we started importing when we used to go to hotels with our Samsung suitcases. This was
Sure.
one of the first ones made by AJ Fernandez. It's very, very special. And this is the one we got with us back from Nicaragua
Great,
from
great,
that
great,
trip.
great,
Yeah.
sure.
Yep.
Nice.
Right.
So what you're smoking
like to cut?
is at
However you-
least 8 years.
Right.
It's been sitting right as humidor for 8 years, right? So
Yep.
they're really
And,
special.
and it smells stunning.
What's interesting, like when I didn't mention this to Raed, and
Please.
would you
one
like
of
to
my
straight
favorite
cut, please.
vitolas is a Lancero.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one. It's actually my favorite vitola, and you chose it exactly right. Maybe because of the name, Tall Hamid, inspired you to pick the Lancero.
Thank you so much.
But I have to say, the etching on the cigar,
Laser etching.
that's
Isn't that brilliant?
it's phenomenal. I thought it was on the wrapper, but
Yeah.
it's actually on the cigar.
Would you like me to light it for you?
No, okay.
You good? Yeah. No. It's you know, it's
You,
fun.
you have to please.
No. Go ahead.
So we all have our cigar journeys, right? And well, one of the things with mine is the role that the LeafMaster played in my journey that I wanted
Thank you. I have.
share on the podcast. I've never really told this story, but this was back, I'd say, in 2021. I think back then when I just got into cigars. And I had just quit smoking. I remember at the time, and I've been a smoker
Remember you very well.
since I was maybe
Mm.
13 or something.
Oh,
I was
wow.
one of those kids that would sneak a cigarette off the packs of the older people and stuff. So when I quit, it was basically quite a hard journey for me to get to that point. But I like missed the just with the feel of smoke in my mouth.
Yeah.
So I started buying cigars from Smokers Center at the time. Just a cheaper like ones with the quorums and such,
Correct.
whatever that they had.
Correct.
And I started looking online. Okay, well, what's a cigar shop that I can go check out that probably has more selection.
Yeah.
And at the time, if you recall, on Google Maps, it wasn't the LeafMaster. It said Blink Humidor or something like that.
Blink.
So
Yes.
it was a bit
Yeah.
confusing at the time. So I'm
Agreed.
like, well, what is this place? Let me just go check it out. And with the first time I went, it was closed
Yeah.
because I didn't check the timings. And if I recall back then, you guys were just open just for a few hours a day. Like,
Yeah, it was like 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day. That's,
exactly.
Yeah,
So I'm like, okay, let me check the hours. I'm gonna come in the next day or so. And I remember the minute I walked into the shop, it felt like I walked into a kind of a lab of some sort, just like, a nerd's like lab, and I'm a big nerd, they're like, guys, they like know this when I get into like a hobby or whatever it is, I go all the way in.
Yeah.
And I just looked around, and I saw the both of you in the shop, and then I'm like, this looks insane, because it's one of the few places where just with the puffs of smoke inside of the shop, it's just a big humidor.
Correct.
And we got into the conversation, and and just and it opened me up to the world of cigars. And I remember Abdul gave me the flying pig, the undercrown.
Legal provider?
No, not
No, the underground.
that's
Mm.
the Baiju Estate.
Yeah.
I believe. And that was one of the first smokes that I had that I actually have a journal, and it's the first page on my journal
Oh, wow.
was that
Wow.
cigar
So
that
nice.
that you chose. And so with me, that's a memory I'll always have, and it's attached to the LeafMaster, which is quite a journey that I feel many of your customers would have. And one of the few things that in the world of commerce, I'd say, not many things that you buy you would remember in such a way, which is what cigars are. I feel.
This is what's. I want to go back to something. I couldn't agree with you more, and I'm kind of getting emotional about this, because going back to what you just mentioned about how the quality of discussions uh, evolve and are much, I don't want to say better, but definitely more deeper in content and in thought than just normal discussions, whether be it over a coffee or a coke or even a cigarette for that matter. We really believe that nothing cannot be solved with anybody over a seating with a cigar.
Yes.
Discussions over a cigar are always chilled, relaxed, peaceful, what have you. If you ask Abdo and I've been living here for about 24 years. Abdo's been living here for about 18 years. If you look at the amount of friends I had before versus now, it's a whole different story. Over the past 5 years, I would say the amount of friends and brothers and sisters that we picked up is just mind blowing. I mean, look at us now. We're sitting, we're comfortable, we're talking, and I met you before. and I just met the gentleman here, and there's something very beautiful about memories associated with cigars. There's
Yes.
something very beautiful. Abdo and I remember our first non-Cuban cigars we ever smoked. I remember the first Cuban cigar I smoked. And there's a lot of memories that you keep. Just like I want to smoke this cigar on my daughter's graduation. I want to smoke that cigar on. So, and that's why I tell everybody to jump to a sort of a related subject. Don't just eat your cigars and sit on them.
Yeah.
Enjoy your cigars.
Mm.
Smoke them. Don't say I have this, I have that, I have this. It's not about just collecting. It's about, so fine, you have the number one Fuente, I don't know what.
Yeah.
And you're sitting on one stick and you did not smoke it. What's the value of that?
Exactly. Yeah.
You need to smoke it. You need to enjoy it. And that's why, Abdo and I, there's no such thing as the holy grail of we always smoke everything we get. We share everything we get.
At the end of the day, it's about enjoying what you're doing. The cigar brings for me a relaxation
Mhm.
and an enjoyment, yeah, that is really, really unique. I don't get it from anything else, right?
Yeah.
That enjoyment for us means there's no barriers. There is no right or wrong. Yeah, you smoke it however whether you want. Yeah, you wanna cut it straight, V cut, however you enjoy. You wanna light it with a cigarette, with a lighter, with matches. There isn't really. We want to make, for us it is about enjoying it, right? And there isn't a right or wrong. There is no word as expert or cigar aficionado. I don't believe in any of that, right?
Correct.
We're doing this to enjoy it and to have fun. And as long as that's what you're doing, you're going to be surrounded with those people with similar things, right?
Correct.
And also, like, when you're smoking it, when we're smoking it together on a podcast, we're trying to get some of the notes.
Yeah.
Do you do that when you're smoking?
We do, but not with expectation.
Yeah.
I read, well, let me speak on my
yeah,
behalf.
I'll-
I don't like reading a review and then smoking the cigar.
Right.
That sort of sets what your brain should be expecting. And this is what happens to us with a lot of clients. They're like, tell me the profile, tell me what I should be tasting, tell me what I should be. And just like wines, you get people that over philosophize.
Yeah.
And I can taste frozen blueberries picked up on a sunny I don't know what day.
You don't taste
and-
those?
I was reading, I was
exactly.
reading-
Or
was reading your review.
it's just a bit much. Certain things you taste because you had. I'm not saying those don't exist.
Yeah.
No, they do. But sometimes you taste based on mood. Sometimes you taste based on what you ate that day or the day before. Sometimes the drink you're drinking with the nut that you ate has created a certain palate in your mouth that when you took the cigar.
Yeah.
There are flavor profiles, but discover those on your own. Don't set your
No,
brain to a
No,
certain thing.
100%.
Huh?
And I remember because the
Yeah,
first time I smoked
yeah.
with Tolham, and he was like, "Are you getting cedar? Are you getting cedar?" I was like, "I don't even know what cedar is, man. Like chill on me just for a second."
Exactly.
Like, I've never
100%.
tasted cedar in my
Exactly.
life.
When you
I
tell the
was
guy
just
I'm
a bit,
tasting brioche, and the guy has never
overexcited
eaten
to
brioche,
get
you
him
know?
into the
Exactly.
journey. But
Yeah.
like you said, I've read cigar reviews where the flavor profiles are just a bit
A bit too much.
intimidating, too
Yeah.
much. Like, well, one of them is that they said that they got hints of asparagus. I'm like, where am I going to begin looking in my palate to get asparagus? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's
But
why
then-
people say, how do I get the flavors? I'm like, you smoke more. This is not me promoting smoking. This is me promoting you. Your palate is like a muscle. It has to be trained.
Yeah.
It has to be exposed. The first time you ever, and I'm talking from my personal experience, the first time I tried wasabi, I thought this is the worst thing God ever created. I thought my wife, at that time, my girlfriend, was trying to kill me, or was trying to tell me in a different way that she wants to break up with me. I thought it was a disaster. Now I'm addicted to it.
Yeah.
So look, when it comes to my experience is I find we have in our shop the typical flavor wheel, yeah.
Mhm.
So those flavor wheels exist for wines, those flavor wheels exist for coffee, right? And they exist for cigars, right?
Yeah.
When we do our training programs for hotels, I talk about them. I find if you look at that wheel, right, and it comes with your palate has to, for wine, for example, a wine sommelier, people for them that taste wine, takes years to really understand what you're tasting, yeah. cigar is very similar. But when I look at that flavor wheel, I find there are some that are much easier to find. Yeah, the most common one is creamy. Yeah, yeah. So when we
Yeah.
smoke a cigar, that's much easier for your palate to find, and when you smoke it, it's creamy. You can taste it easy. Yeah. The other one I think is people talk about chocolate. Yeah.
Chocolate and
Yeah.
coffee. Yeah.
Those are pleasant ones that you can find easily. There are some that are unpleasant, like spicy, yeah,
Yeah, the
peppery.
peppers.
That's another part of that wheel, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are also easier to find because if you don't like it, you're gonna taste the right way. So those simple ones, I think it's easier for your palate to find them. The more complex ones we're talking about, I don't believe in, and those take years and years, right?
100%. With me, just generally, just with the sweeter like notes are probably you need years of practice with your palate.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the questions I asked early on. I asked you the same question. What are the flavor profiles in this and that? And one of the things you mentioned that to me was like, I'm jealous of you because
You have a new palate.
you have a new palate,
A fresh palate.
Very true.
So what you're gonna experience, I probably can't experience because of the amount that I've already smoked.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that, like, when Adham he started getting into cigars, I was, like you mentioned, very excited to kind of guide him on his journey. But then I realized there's no point. He will start like attaching those flavors with memories of his own. So it's his own palate that
Exactly.
will build up on its own. There's no need left for me to kind of push him into one way or the other.
I remember Abdo and I were in Miami after one of the shows. 3 o'clock in the morning, Abdo says, "I want a cigar."
Can I say my own version of the story afterwards?
Sure. But mine is the correct one.
I have to still say my own version.
And I give him a cigar, and he smokes like he's halfway through the first third of the cigar, and he's like, "This must be the worst cigar I've ever smoked in my life."
Wow.
I'm like, "Okay." So I give him another cigar, and he smokes the other cigar, and he's happy. Second morning, we're sitting on the pool. Let's have a cigar. We had just food. We just had food. I'm like, sure. So I light up the same cigar for him, and I gave it to him. And halfway through the first third, he's like, "This is a delicious smoke." I'm like, "Well, that's the cigar that you said yesterday was one of the worst cigars you ever smoked." What I'm trying to say is, it's a lot of factors that get into this: the time, the mood, who you're smoking with, the oxygen, guys. Sometimes you smoke this cigar in Dubai, it has a flavor. You smoke it in the mountain in France or Switzerland or whatever, where the oxygen level is much purer and much better. It tastes totally different. So work on your own palate. That's my biggest advice to everybody. And work on differentiating between strength and body. A lot of people don't differentiate those two, and they're totally different. Strength is the strength of the cigar. Body is the flavor profile. How many flavors are you finding in all of that stuff? It's exactly like wine. It's exactly like coffee.
Yeah.
You'd be drinking a coffee that's very light, so it's a light coffee, but the flavors of berries and what's it called is overwhelming. So it has a lot of body. And that's why I don't want to sound like I'm jumping to a lot of things. Because we were just asked that question yesterday, is a dark cigar stronger, and stronger is a very vague word in tobacco, than a light cigar? And our answer is no.
100%.
No, because you have to differentiate between what is the strength and what is the body.
And it also depends, on the blend, right? So
Correct.
the blend, we can talk at length about the blend, but the blend goes a big way into determining whether the strength is, yeah?
100%. I've smoked a Connecticut cigar that literally knocked me on my ass. You know what I mean?
I
It
believe
has
it.
happened.
I believe it. I believe it. And I want to say something that relates to the whole process of because Abdo we talked about how a cigar is conducive to a discussion. We talked about flavors. We talked about all of that stuff. One of the questions we get all the time in relation to all what we've been discussing is, are cigars healthy? We're not doctors. we're never going to tell you it's healthy or not healthy, but we're going to answer it in a different way. What's killing a lot of people today is sugar, salt, and stress.
Yes.
Neither of us, no matter what you have in your mind, you're worried of are the equipment working? He's worried they're fixing something in his house, whatever. Neither of us now is stressed. Everyone's relaxed.
Yep.
Okay, so this de-stresses you. So as long as this de-stresses you, as long as you don't inhale, as long as you maintain your mouth hygiene, okay, you're perfectly fine.
And it doesn't have sugar inside.
And it doesn't have sugar inside, or
Yep.
salt, or whatever for that
I have
matter.
a funny story. I go to my doctor. I have my cholesterol level is
Exactly.
borderline, right? And I always usually go to my doctor by myself, yeah. And he would ask me, the same questions: Do you smoke? And I'd always tell him, no, I don't smoke. And one time I went with my wife. I made a mistake. My wife came with me to the doctor, and then the doctor asked me, "Do you smoke?" And I said, "No, I don't smoke." And my wife nearly fell off her chair. What do you mean you don't smoke? You smoke cigars? I said, "That's different, right? When a doctor asks you, do you smoke? Because they're talking about cigarettes. Because cigarettes you inhale,
Yeah.
and those have a negative effect. When you smoke a cigar, you're puffing, and there is no secondhand smoke. There is no inhaling. Yeah, the relaxation it gives me far outweighs any potential health. Nothing we do in life is risk-free, right? We drink a lot of sugar, we don't exercise. All of those are risk factors, yeah. But I still have the argument with my wife whether I smoke or not. I still maintain I don't smoke cigarettes.
I totally agree. So during the week, what I find is because the pace of life in Dubai is so fast, the week passes like it's so fast.
Yeah.
One day is gone. So we always look forward to our Saturday mornings where we smoke a cigar, we record our podcast, and that seems to just like slow the week down.
Yep.
Something more purposeful, something we're doing for ourselves,
Yes.
and we're enjoying the conversation. We're having fun. We're exploring something new. This is a brilliant way to de-stress. I
Just,
totally agree with you.
Keeping with the theme of talking about our spouses, it's also a chance for us to kind of just
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's.
we're gonna get in trouble after we let's release this one.
yeah. But
We'll put a password on
We're
the
all
video.
working.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all working hard.
But
Exactly.
I've also wanted to ask you is, we're all from the finance background, right? I've been in the DIFC for 17 years, and I was looking through your profile. You worked in the DIFC.
Correct.
You worked for regulated entities in finance, and I just wanted to see how. And you worked for consultancy companies. How did you go from having a corporate C-suite job to now becoming full time in your own business, in the cigar business? How did that journey go about?
We all have different stories. You start.
Yeah. It's interesting because I used to be a cigarette smoker. And I went to my doctor once and he was like, you're on the right track. I'm like, what track is that? He's like, death? He's like, your chest is a disaster. You've been smoking too much. You need to quit. That was one day before Ramadan, literally. Like today, I went and saw the doctor. I quit. I said, it's Ramadan. I'll quit. And I stayed for a year and a half after that, promising myself that I'm going to smoke a cigarette tomorrow. I'm going to smoke a cigarette tomorrow. I'm going to smoke a cigarette tomorrow. Which I didn't. And I stayed without smoking for 2 to 3 years up until the doctor told me I'm comfortable where you're going now. I go for my checkups now and my chest is clear. And he says, whatever you're doing, keep on doing it. I'm like, I smoke 1 or 2 cigars a day. It's like, as long as you don't inhale, as long as, etc. So I got into smoking cigars. And at one point in my career, which was doing great, we started experimenting through our trips with New World cigars because he got stuck once in the US without cigars. I got stuck one time in the US without cigars. We had those, the trip was supposed to be 3 days. It ended up being 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So from the 3 Cuban cigars you had, 2 were great, 1 was plugged.
Yep.
You got stuck with 2 cigars and there's nothing to do. So you start smoking New World cigars and you're like, my God, those are good. So once after a trip that we both had, Abdo would come with cigars from New York. I would come back from cigars from I don't know where. And we kept on trying and smoking together. And one time over a call at night, we're like, we need to get into this.
can I just?
Yeah.
So it's very similar, right? I used to work with IBM. I would travel to New York, like Ryan said, a lot, and I would bring once a quarter, bring my Cuban cigars with me. One day I forgot my Cuban cigars. I went tried some. I fell off my chair. They were amazing, yeah. And I always knew that I wanted to have my own business, always, right? It was just a question of what people tell you. The people who are passionate are the lucky ones because you do what you're passionate about.
Mhm.
Yeah, we both happen to be passionate about cigars.
Would you like some coffee?
And I would always give myself Saturday mornings, 2 hours in the morning to think about what I want to do as a business, right?
Mm.
And one morning I'm sitting there because that's the only quiet time I have, right? Smoking a cigar, thinking about what business do I do. I look at the cigar, and then I call Ryan, said, "Let's get into a business," right? Ryan said, "I was thinking the exactly same thing."
Yeah.
And this is this is when the light bulb comes on. It really is about a passion for both of us. I think people who know what they're passionate about are the lucky ones, right? Because those are the people that will do well. In my case, it took me 50 years to figure out what I'm passionate about, but that's how it started, and we went from both corporate work, business to starting.
We
a
left
business.
corporate to this, and I have to admit, your biggest addiction in your life is not, your food or your drink or what have you. Your biggest addiction in your life is that salary that comes back into your bank account every month. That's your biggest addiction. And I don't mean any disrespect to anybody. I was there myself. And so when we moved and I stopped and I started focusing on the business, the wake-up call you'd get at the end of every month where you're looking at your bank account and instead of it going like this, it's going like this. But then things start kicking in, and all of that stuff. So it was a passion that we converted into a business plan. And what helped is that everything he's learned from his consulting years, everything I've learned from my finance years, we put that into the business. And we realized from day one, this is a business that's all about cash flow management.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a business that has to stay young in spirit. This is a business. I am not in this to convert somebody that's been smoking Cuban cigars and is 60 years old, like my late father, for example, who thought I was a total, unintelligent, I don't want to say the word, idiot for getting into this. But then when he tried the cigars, he's like, oh my God, I understand what you're talking about.
And I would say we are atypical when it comes to this industry, especially in the US. When we go to cigar conferences every year that typically happen in Vegas, this year they're happening in New Orleans, and you meet other distributors, other people in the cigar industry. We are completely atypical. We're both people with a corporate background that got into cigars. Most of the other people in the US, right, or in Europe,
second and third generation,
exactly, are people who have been in these businesses for generations, right? That just fell into it, and the fact that we're both corporate guys in it is very atypical.
How were you kind of received at these conferences, being, like you said, from such an atypical background? Were you guys were like, oh, look at those two,
No. They were like, who are those two bozos? That's what they were saying. And
when we first started, for sure.
When we went to our first show in Vegas, and we're talking to the people, and you still don't have your equity story correct, if you may, to use the financial terms. And you're talking to them about what you want to do and stuff like this. They're intrigued, but they're like, you know nothing about this business. You smoke cigars. Smoking cigars is different than rolling cigars, is different than selling cigars, is different than importing cigars, is different than all of these things put together. Some of them even declined us and said, look, you're, as they say, too wet behind the ear as far as the business is concerned. Go disappear for a year or two, see if your business. And a lot of people were betting against the LeafMaster, not against us personally, but against the LeafMaster, because we were getting into a business where this was, for 40 plus years, a pure Cuban business. We come in, but our approach was, with social media kicking in, with all of the access everybody has, you look at what people drink, it's no longer the same drink. What people eat, it's no longer the same food. What people wear, it's no longer. So why not the same thing not happening for cigars? Why would you convince me that the US has been or Europe has been smoking those cigars for years? They cannot be bad. There's something good about them.
It's just to add, I think the reality is they were probably right? Because when we first started, we made a lot of mistakes. There's two guys. That was when excise tax was first introduced. It was a heavily regulated industry. We had a lot of brands that worked, some didn't work. We made a lot of mistakes, yeah, and we learned from those mistakes.
We're still making mistakes.
And we
God knows.
still, yeah. So I would say at the beginning they were probably right. Yeah, we had a dream, yeah, a passion, but a dream alone or a passion alone just doesn't work. The first 3-4 years were really difficult at multiple levels. We made a lot of mistakes. We learned from those mistakes. We survived because we were able to be, people talk about being agile and pivoting.
Yep.
This is so important because we were able to learn from those mistakes. We pivoted and we continue to do that.
Yep.
But at the beginning, they were right. We were wet behind the ears.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, having a passion for something is not the same as creating a business. It's two different things. Today, what we're seeing in the industry, there are more people who've seen what we've done, and they see, oh, look, this is so easy, right? This is so beautiful. I want to do the same thing. And then they don't realize the complexities behind it.
I've noticed it as well. Like, without mentioning any
No,
names,
but
right? When I'm walking into these other places that are getting like New World smokes, and I start asking them questions, right? It's not like that kind of initial experience that I had with the LeafMaster, or like currently when I walk in and I talk with your staff, like they know literally everything behind every stick in that shop. Whatever question, they can guide me, and I can just get into that experience. I don't kind of receive like the same amount of let's say kind of reception in other places, because like you mentioned, it's perhaps it's not a labor of passion, and you feel that as a customer when you walk into a place that is a labor of passion. So
exactly,
it's visible to the customer as well.
For me, I have 2 daughters. Well, and Pepper, my 4th daughter is the business. Seriously, and I don't mean that in a very cheesy way. I love what I do. It is definitely passion, but we will never claim, and we never claim that we're the best or we're going to be the best and all of that stuff. There's always another person ahead of you or behind you that's going to come up with something different. That's going to add a thought that you haven't thought about and all of that stuff. But the only advice we give to the people is what I just said right now. Smoking a cigar is different than importing a cigar and being in the cigar business. You can be a professional, a cigar smoker. That does not mean you're going to be a successful cigar purveyor or cigar merchant.
100%.
I can bring you a guy that builds a Ferrari engine. Does that guy know how to drive the Ferrari the same way I don't know who does? The answer is no.
Yeah.
It's the same with restaurants, right? So my family's been in restaurants 61 years in
Amazing.
the UK, and I feel like everyone who loves food always feels they can have their own restaurant. And they say if a millionaire wants to not become a millionaire anymore, open a restaurant. If a billionaire wants to not become a billionaire, open up an airline.
Yeah.
And
I thought get married.
Or get married, yeah. No, but it's I'll tell you a story, an intimate story, and this is a story that nobody knows but Abdo, myself, and our wives. We started right after the excise laws were implemented. And then we get hit with COVID. And although we kept our shop open, the sales did not justify it because people were not leaving the houses for multiple reasons. You're not allowed to drive, the permits, all of that stuff. Although Dubai, compared to many other cities, was a bit more lenient, if you may. And we reached the point with the last 15,000 dirhams in the bank account. That's it. When you're hitting a red brick wall, and the little hairs on top of your nose, I know you don't have hair on your nose, those little hairs on top of your nose are hitting that wall. You can feel it. You're getting those goosebumps that, when is my face going to get smashed? So we turn around and we say, well, if people are not going to come to us, we're going to go to them. And we start taking orders online, and I would have lunch, and I would go with my driver would pass by. We would put the 20, 30, 40 bags of what's it called and deliver to the people in their homes. We'd start delivery at 3 o'clock. Sometimes we're delivering till midnight. And what happened is that our clients, we became part of their household because you would go, you deliver. Oh man, thank you so much. What are you doing? I'm looking. I just opened a bottle of wine. Why don't you sit down and have a drink with me? Or why don't you smoke a cigar with me? Or you know what? We just put dinner on the table. Come eat with us. So those people became your friends.
Mm.
And so when COVID opened up and it was supposedly over, these people came back and they became your friends and they became a solid base for your clients.
Mm.
You know, and this is something that we will never change, which is the whole family feeling of the LeafMaster.
Mhm.
Okay, yes, I'm not going to lie to you, it is a business and it has to survive by making money, but that relationship with the people,
Mhm.
that team building that we do, you know, the way I train my team, the way we get together once in Abdo's house, once in my house for a meal once a month is very, very, very important, you know, because the whole family feeling, the whole positive energy is going to reflect on your team, is going to reflect on your shop, and you're going to walk into the shop and feel that energy.
100%.
And just to add to that, where we are different, right? We really focus on the experience. What you guys are describing, yeah, what you described, Adham, when you walked into the shop, how our people are knowledgeable and how what they know and the way they serve and all of that. We really think of it as an experience. We don't see ourselves as a shop or as distributors, right? And everybody talks about the experience now. It's become a buzzword in the corporate world, yeah. But it's really important to focus on that, the story behind each cigar, and it's much harder to deliver it, right? Because if you want to deliver that experience to a customer, this is where the training, passion for the people is really important, and the constant drilling that this is people. Someone walks in, we want them to enjoy the experience of being there, and this is really where we differentiate ourselves, and that's how we.
Yeah, and just on the business front, what got me into the LeafMaster was I was always smoking Cuban cigars up until 2019 when there was plenty of stock.
Yeah.
Then COVID came. I used to go to the shops. There's no stock whatsoever, Cubans. So I thought, okay, where can I get cigars? And I think that's where the opportunity came for you guys, because when I worked into the LeafMaster, there was stock. You had stock. You had cigars for sale. And when you guys told me about the cigars and what you had available, that's what got me into the new world.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have a question for you now. You guys were friends and working together and both customers, or did you guys were you both
Separate, yeah.
separate?
So separate. So myself, I was working somewhere else.
Yes.
No Cuban cigars, so I came to the LeafMaster and
remember,
started
yes.
coming, right. I think with Tolham, it was he discovered it separately
Yeah.
and started coming to your shop.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
with Adham, we all decided to meet up in a shisha cafe to smoke cigars. When I got there, Adham didn't have a cigar, so he just went on his own will to the LeafMaster and bought a cigar
Oh.
and came back. So it's very much.
Yeah, and that was my first cigar I ever bought.
Really?
It was
Amazing.
in the Habtoor branch
Yeah.
we have.
Yeah. So
I
nice.
think Tolham took me there because it was close by. I was like, yeah, there's a really nice cigar shop. You need to go
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
And I
I
walked in, and in the beginning, I did feel a little bit intimidated by looking at the number of cigars in front of me, and I'm like, I will have no idea what to pick.
Yeah.
But I think Tolham there and the gentleman that was in the shop as well, they helped us, and I bought my first cigar, and I did enjoy it.
Interesting.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Like I would say that we all have our journeys, and with Omar is he's probably the OG of the journey. He constantly blames like me for the what happened with the cigar with the supply. He mentions back in the day that there used to be always whenever I'd walk in, there'll be a bunch of cigars, but then after COVID, when your generation started to smoke, there's no more cigars anymore. So yeah.
I think during COVID, a lot of people were just sitting in the house, didn't know what to do,
Yeah.
watching YouTube, and they saw videos about cigars, and they thought, okay, let's
Let
try
me
that.
get into that.
And the demand became so much worldwide that, especially for Cubans, because that's the first thing people would think about with cigars, the supply wasn't there. And that's where I think you guys have done an amazing job in attacking that opportunity, and you've done a fabulous job of growing your business.
Thank you.
If you get the chance to, let's say, go back in time, would there be anything that you would do slightly differently with the journey of the LeafMaster?
I would say starting earlier.
Starting earlier.
Definitely. I'll tell you a little story because I loved cigars ever since I stopped cigars and all of that stuff. So my wife and I were in Bali, and amazing artists there, by the way. Very raw art, beautiful, and we love art. So I see this beautiful painting called The Smokers. A lot of weird designed faces smoking, and I wanted to buy it, but the price just did not make sense. And sure enough, I wake up the second morning. My wife is like, "What are you doing today?" I'm like, "I just want to chill on the pool." She's like, "Yeah, I feel like going shopping." Sure enough, she goes, she buys that painting back as a gift for me, and that painting is in our shop. It was the first painting that was hung on the shop. But I remember that time she told me, "You know, you love cigars. Why don't you get into this business?" Are you out of your mind? At that time, growing, doing IPOs, doing all of these things. I'm like, Dana, this is the real deal. Why do you want me to get into cigars? You know?
Interesting.
And I wish I did it then. I wish I did it then. But there's always a time for everything.
Yeah.
For me, it's time. I wish I would have done it earlier. You know? And this is what I tell my kids. I mean, I have two daughters. Karma's in NYU, and Taima is going to University of Miami this September. And Taima is a professional dancer. And she told me, "So are you fine if I take that seriously? Should I do something else? Should I?" I'm like, "Look, I'm a person that did corporate all his life till the age of, I'm 55 right now, till the age of 50. And then at the age of 50, shifted to what I love most and what my passion is and on what I look forward to go every day. As long as you wake up in the morning, look at yourself in the mirror, and you're satisfied with yourself, you're happy with what you do, this is what I want you to do." Don't get me wrong, having your own business has its own challenges, has its own problems, has its own everything. But still, there's something beautiful about doing what you're passionate about. But passion does not come alone. Passion, it has to make sense and sense, as they say.
Yes.
Look, I would say for my case, it's always easy to look back and say. I would say that some of the brands that we work with, maybe we should have been a bit more selective. Without mentioning anything, right? But that's really difficult, right? Because you're making that decision based on, at the end, this is really
In hindsight, everything is...
exactly.
yeah.
At the end of the day, this is the personality. It is how you get along with that supplier, and how are they to work with. It's like interviewing someone. You have an idea, but you're never sure. But I think we've tried everything. We really pride ourselves on being flexible and changing things and adjusting.
We learned a lot, and we're not ashamed of mistakes or admitting that we're wrong in certain things. Where I disagree with this, not disagree, where I see a different outlook to what Abdo just said, is it's part of growth.
Yes.
It's part of understanding who you are. It's part of understanding the cigar, the tobacco. It's part of understanding blending. It's part of understanding the flavor profile and what people like. I mean, we have places in this side of Dubai that loves heavy cigars. So that shop is selling heavy cigars like a mother. And then the same cigar in, for example, Marina is not selling because people like lighter cigars. There's so many moving parts. There's so many factors to consider. The bottom line is exactly what Abdo said. Learn from your mistakes. Don't be worried from your mistakes. Have agility in the business.
Pivot.
Yeah.
Every time
Pivot.
you get...
We drive our business like a go-kart. We're not a six-wheeler. We don't take a left before we can make a right. You know what I mean? Or a 12-wheeler, whatever you want to call it.
It's hilarious. Can I share my turn to share a story?
Yeah.
It is really how we do stuff. Like one day, Rad and I will be talking about something, and we decide something. The very next day, very next morning, I'm talking to Rad. I'm thinking, we're gonna do this. No. We're gonna do this. I said, what? He says, in the morning, I swear, in the shower this morning, this came to me, right? I had this idea. We're gonna do this. Saying, okay,
And,
but that's exactly, it's exactly like that.
no,
Yeah.
100%. It resonates a lot to us as well. I've been around startups for almost 7 years now, and that's the only thing I've ever worked in, right? And for us, the key driver of startups or business is pivoting.
Yeah.
Every day is a different story.
Yes.
Every day you want to do something else just to see if
Would
it
you like
actually
a
works.
fresh
And if
water?
it doesn't,
No,
you
it's
learn
fine.
from it and you optimize and you do it again. It's not
Yeah.
like you kill the idea. You never
Yeah.
kill ideas. You always just optimize and see if it
Correct.
goes in a different way.
Correct.
And I think that's what drives success in startups. That's what is driving success in businesses as yours. And yeah, I mean it's an interesting journey, and I can't wait to see what's next for the LeafMaster.
We are excited, but I try to think in my showers, but I don't get any ideas.
For me, that's the best time. Look, that's why we wanted to share our experience with a lot of people. And this is me, a shout out again. We did a post once about if you want to get into this business, let us help you.
Mm.
Help you with your choice, help you with the design of the shop, help you with the selection of the shop, help you with all of that stuff. But unfortunately, that was misunderstood because you would get a super high net worth individual coming to you and saying, okay, help me. And you're like, that's not what the purpose is. I'm not judging, but the purpose was for people that want to start up the business with a limited budget, how we can help them to grow this business. We started our business, you'd be shocked with the budget that we started our business with. If I think about it today, I'm like, how did this even succeed? But we believe there are a lot of candidates out there that have the potential of having amazing businesses. And at the end of the day, whether we want to admit to it or not, their success is our success. It's not the other way around. We cannot be successful in isolation.
100%.
Yes.
No way. We cannot successful if we believe we're better than the Cubans. We're not. We smoke Cuban cigars. We love Cuban cigars. It's all about providing variety. And that was our biggest challenge. We were all about providing variety.
Yeah.
We wanted people to try different things. We wanted you to grow your property. And you don't eat the same food every day. You don't wear the same T-shirt every day. You don't wear... There are already too many constants in life. I mean, I say this going back to wives. I say I should be devoted to a single wife. And I need to be devoted to a single cigar?
Yeah.
People that come to you and they're so proud and they tell you, oh, I only smoke D4. So let me get this straight. You've been smoking for 15 years and that's the only cigar you're smoking? That's torture.
Yep.
You have what they call a monopallet. You have what they call, not exhausted palate. What do they call it?
I don't know.
There's a word for it. That's it. There's no way you can taste, it's exactly like the chewing gum. When you eat the chewing gum, you think the sugar is gone. The sugar is not gone.
You're just used to it.
And your palate got used to it.
Yeah.
The sugar is still there, the flavor is still there, everything's still there.
100%.
And so the whole idea is open your horizon.
Yeah.
We're not the most experienced, or we're passionados. We'll never call ourselves aficionados. I am not an aficionado. I still learn, I still read, I still smoke, and I still discover every day, and that's the joy of this. So calling yourself aficionado, if you want to, good for you. But we are passionados.
Just to add to what Rad said, when in that program we started to help people. Really, this is another buzzword that I really hate. It's about the community, right? We really believe it's a community that we're building. This cannot be individual things. It cannot be just the LeafMaster.
Yeah.
We are part of community. You guys are part of community. This is why we wanted to do this. The other suppliers, other people in this business are part of that community, and we constantly reaching out to that because we believe in this community. This can only thrive if it is believed as a community. Unfortunately, it's harder to build. Yeah, people talk about it, but it takes time. But we really are 100% focused on building that community, working with everybody in this community to come together.
We've just sponsored the Gulf Cigars, the GCC, the Gulf Cigar community. We've just sponsored it for the Dubai and the UAE, an event that happened on the 31st of January.
St. Regis?
Yeah, at the
Habtoor Palace.
Habtoor Palace, which used to be and 120 people, smokers from all over. It was just amazing. It was just amazing, and we want to continue to support this, and we are very lucky because our brands support us in these initiatives too. We're very lucky because the brands are very much supporting. They're very intrigued by this region. They see the potential in this region. And that's why from the beginning we found ourselves in a position where we are the ambassadors, the first people that got into this business from Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, Costa Rica, Honduras, and Mexico. And so we had to show you the big picture.
Mm.
Lovely. And I think this is something that we always talk about on the podcast, is that the growing community of cigar lovers, I would
Yes.
call them, or people
Especially in this
passionate about
region.
cigars, exactly, in this region. And we can see it's actually growing more and more. And I think a big part of it was because of, let's call it the non-Cubans or the New World cigars, is because in one way or another, it's democratizing, cigar smoking.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, Cuban cigars are getting more and more rare. They're getting more and more pricier. So the average, me, Tolham, Omar here, if we only have access to that, we wouldn't have smoked
Yeah.
this much cigars in this span of our daily life. And I think that's all because of, new world cigars, because of places like the LeafMaster and so on.
Yeah.
And thank you for that, honestly.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to do what you love, and I'm glad you're doing what you love. I'm glad we're doing what we love, and it's rewarding, and especially um, I don't want to sound like I'm boasting or what have you, but we are in a kind of way, because when you feel the success and when you feel that that seed that you put is actually growing like that little tree over there, it's just a beautiful thing. And one of the things now, the Leaf Master, our reputation is no longer just, and I say that very humbly, and we literally pinch our faces every morning, Abdul and I. The Leaf Master now has a global reputation.
Mhm.
Um, I'm now a candidate for the elections that are happening with the PCA, for the board of the PCA.
You want to talk what the PCA is? Because I don't think people know what it is.
Yeah. So the PCA is the Premium Cigar Association, the largest association that that promotes tobacco and cigars and retailers, that started in the U.S. in 1934.
So the A is for America, right? So it's 100% US focused.
Mhm.
Was.
Yeah, but then it became Premium Cigar Association, exactly. And I joined their committee last year, two of their committees last year that report to the board, and this year I was invited to join the board, which is very interesting. By the same token, our shop in Abu Dhabi is actually one of two finalists for the best cigar shop, new cigar shop 2025, in something they call Best of the Leaf Awards.
Yeah.
So that's an amazing thing that we're very humbled by, and looking forward to the results. How they say in Oscars.
And the winner is?
No, it's an honor to be. What is it?
Finalist?
It's
Nominated.
honor to be nominated.
Yes, there you go.
It's an honor to be finalist, and yes, I want to win.
So did you guys vote?
Yes, we did actually. All voted.
Very good.
We can't tell you who we
Yeah,
voted.
Yeah.
All my friends did it. I put it on a WhatsApp group, and they said we all voted for the other shop.
Yeah. And what's very interesting too is the fact that today we're actually working on getting the PCA to Dubai.
Mm.
So I think it's about time that this part of the world gets its own cigar show that pretty much covers Middle East, North Africa, Southeast Asia, Indian subcontinent, and it's very important. You have a show that happens in the US, the PCA itself. You have a show that happens for Europe. They're all both international shows, mind you, in Europe, which is Intertabac, and it's time that the Middle East has its own show, and what better city to do it than Dubai?
100%.
I think Raed's being very humble. The reason why I said America is because this group was 100% focused on the US, right?
Right.
That's what they're there for. They're there to kind of help the suppliers in the US lobby with the federal, but they were very American focused. When Raed got on these committees, he was the only one that wasn't from the US. And what Raed has done on this is open their eyes to say, you guys need to think broader, right? Again, to the community, right?
Yep.
You guys need to think broader. This is not only happening in the US. US is a great place, but there's a whole other world out there, right?
Exactly.
And this is what he's done by and having the show here in the US was. I think now they're a lot more interested in expanding to other parts of the world because of the work that he's done.
And right, I'd love to hear your thoughts about the new book that you've
The
brought.
new book. So the new book is a very interesting thing that we got invited to. Again, very exciting, humbling experience. We Sig has done a lot of books on multiple luxuries of life. Cigars is one of them. He's done watches. He's done cars, with Asoline and many others. So he decided to write this book. And the beauty about the book, Cigar Biography, is if you look at 99.9% of the cigar books that are out there, they're very much Cuban focused.
Mhm.
And it was time that a book comes out that shows the beauty of both, does a comparison, talks to you about other things. So, and we were invited, 5 shops were selected across the world to basically be part of the production of this book. And we were one of them. And what happened, the way it was done, it's very beautiful. You get to design your own cover for the book. So the book comes, and this is the mock-up that we did. The book comes like this, okay? And you open the sleeve, and it's the actual book under it.
Right.
And what we did is we worked with a local design. We love local talent. I mean, us sitting with you, and I don't mean sound in the wrong way, is I am willing to support local talent all the way. And this, for me, when you guys got in touch, I'm like, bingo, I love this. We are going to do this. And we worked with an amazing artist, Ibrahim, a big shout out to him. And we did the cover, and the cover is all about words that we use to express our emotions towards cigars. Ishq, Jamal, Ruh, Gharam, Sihr. You know, these are all words that are very deep in explaining what Shaghaf, passion, Hiyam, epitome of love, Hub, love. So all of those are embossed on the outside of the book, or the sleeve, if you may. You open the sleeve, and we did the same thing and have embossed all the brands that we work with, the New World cigar brands that we work with, on both sides. The whole idea is
In Arabic, right?
in Arabic, yes, of course. The whole idea is it's a celebration of the Arabic language. It's a celebration of young Arab artists, and the colors were very important, because the colors at the end of the day were, as it relates to the culture that we live in, you know, the sand dunes, the sky, all of that stuff. So this is something that we're very excited about. Those books are going to be available starting here in Dubai, starting, I would say, end of March, April. And we have a great surprise for them, because our intention is not to make money on this. Our intention is to make it available for people to read. And so we're going to have a special program where these books, the majority of them, are actually going to be given away to people that want to read and learn about cigars, because we're very, very, very adamant on the education of cigars.
So going back to Brahim, just to add, sorry, he's a customer. He's a cigar smoker.
Nice.
So Brahim used to come to our shop. He's a cigar smoker, and we talk to him like we talk to you, like we talk to him. Very curious about what he does, and Raed started. He had a job. He was working full time, and Raed encouraged him, said, "Why don't you do this as a
Something on the side.
Something on the side?" And but what brings us, going back to the cigar, what brought us together is the cigars. He's a very, very big cigar fan. He's a regular customer.
And how can our viewers buy the cigar, or the book, and maybe how can they read it?
Sure, the book is going to be available, as I said, towards the end of March, early April. We're going to publish, or we're going to put a post on our Instagram as to availability of the book and how you can get it. And we're going to make sure it's fun for all. That's the plan.
You'll be selling it in the shop as well?
Of course. We'll be selling it in the shop. We already have orders for bookshops that want to carry the book too, in the UAE and outside of the UAE,
Nice.
interestingly enough. Yeah, we're very excited about it.
My understanding is this is not the first time you've been selling books in the shop.
Yes.
You're right. You're right. Another book that we sold, which is very close to my heart because it was Didier, and I was working and talking to Didier as he was going through the process of writing it, because he wrote the first one, and then he expanded it to another book, and he created a two-book encyclopedia,
Yeah.
which is a cigar from smoke to soul.
Mm.
Brilliant book. But that book is, in my humble opinion, technical.
Yes.
It's very technical, but technical is important. So if you want to take it, starting with that book for somebody that's not into cigars and tobacco a lot is a big hit.
Mm.
This is something you do at a later stage. This is like me giving you calculus 201 before you do basic math.
Mm.
So this is something that's introductory. It has more pictures. It gives you the culture, the history, and then you can move to that book too.
And that's the cigar you're smoking is from Didier that it's talking about. He's the one who blends that and
It's an amazing smoke.
Yeah, I just want to
honestly.
say I'm
Are you ready for your second one?
yes,
Uh,
small one.
I think what like right now.
Yeah.
Or
Or not. It's up to you.
no, this was a brilliant smoke. I really enjoyed it.
Excellent.
It was probably, I think, one of the most memorable lanceros I've had. I just want to say that from the guys, though, we kind of loved having you gents on the pod, and I'm pretty sure this is just the first of many. There are many topics that we want to jump into as well. But I think
Yeah. Well, what we wanted to surprise you on the podcast was that this is now going to become our podcast studio. And, we'll be here every day.
Definitely.
Our house is your house. You notice it's not my house.
Yeah, you are welcome to come and smoke and talk anytime, and I say that in front of everybody. No, really, it's a lot of fun. We've really enjoyed it. We thank you for giving us the chance to do this. We're in this for the long term. We have amazing plans to expand in the UAE and the GCC as a whole. We have a lot of surprises coming up, a lot of interesting surprises, whether be it on the cigar, on the expansion, on the accessories, on a lot of things. And I promise you, we'll continue to have great content for you.
Awesome. And will we see in the near future the LeafMaster Lounge? Is that something that is
Very good question. Very good question.
Maybe this could be it.
Yeah. Well, during the summer, whoever wants to come, during the good weather, whoever wants to come and smoke a cigar is welcome to do it here. Look, I love the idea of a lounge, and I have been nagging on Abdo and giving him a migraine, not a headache, discussing this subject.
Did he tell you to ask that question?
Yeah. But it's not. Well, we want to do it in a way that is not. Okay, let me pause here and go back to a very transparent and again a very intimate detail.
Yep.
We get invited a lot of times to join certain cigar clubs.
Yep.
And if you talk to a lot of people, they're like, they have a chip on their shoulder. They're not joining this, they're not joining that. We're not joining clubs, not because we have any issue with any of these clubs. We're there to support them. GCC is an example, the Gulf Cigar Community. But it doesn't make sense. We believe it doesn't make sense for us to be members in any club because it's a conflict of interest.
Yep.
Mhm.
I'm a cigar purveyor at the end of the day. No matter how much I'd like to call myself, we are cigar suppliers, and that's what we want to do.
Mhm.
I don't want to be considered nor here nor there. I'm in the middle providing people to smoke cigars. I don't want to be taking any positions. The lounge is something that we want to do, but we are worried that it will be a diversion from our main strategy, which is the cigar itself.
Mhm.
I worked in hotels. I have great F&B experience.
Yeah.
But when you get into a lounge, you have to consider F&B. You have to consider service. You have to consider a lot of things which may take away from our attention on the cigars themselves. That's one. Two, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. Meaning, we're going to get into the details of the chairs used. There's a certain chair that's comfortable for the cigar smoker. The air quality system. the design, how the humidor is, the walk-in humidor component. There's a lot of things that we would like to get into the details of. So my answer is like not no, but my answer is it's still not the right time.
Yep.
Is that the first
Yeah,
thing?
yeah. I would add. Look, I think when we started, this is talk about the passion, the dream. That was part of the dream. Yeah, this is a big part of the dream.
100%.
This is really what we wanted. When we started, remember talking about Blink, right? Across from the shop was a lounge, right? That we managed for a
I
while,
remember that.
and it was perfect. People would come in, buy a cigar from us, sit in the lounge. That was the perfect setup.
Correct.
Yeah, that doesn't exist anymore. That lounge is now a coffee shop.
Yeah.
If we're gonna do it, we need to do it just like we did the shop. The shop is unique.
Yeah.
There are so many cigar shops. Our shop stands out. Again, I'm just trying to be humble.
Yeah.
If we wanted to do a lounge, it has to be super unique. There are so many cigar lounges in Dubai. I talked about at the beginning. Right? There's a lot of them. Yeah. So what we don't want to do is have just another cigar lounge with chairs and people smoking cigars. Been there, done that. So it would have to be super unique, and that's going. I agree with Raed. When the timing is right, we will do it.
That's perfect. Yeah, we look forward to it.
So do
Yeah.
we, trust me.
And
We do.
recording the episodes over there as well when time is right.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. 100%. We look forward to that ourselves.
So thank you so much for your time. It's been an
pleasure.
absolute pleasure, and we'll see you on the next one.
I want to say, we wish you guys luck. This is a great thing you're doing.
Thank
Yes.
you.
We,
Thank you.
Really
I want
appreciate it.
I want to thank you. This is super cool. And now that I heard your story, how you did it, how you started it, we can both relate to it. We started in a very similar way, and you have the passion, and you will do great. And we really wish you luck. Now
Thank you so much.
I'm gonna follow you on YouTube now.
Thank you so much.
Definitely.
Thank
And
you
whatever
so much.
support you need from us, we're happy to do that.
Yes.
In presence, in cigars, in whatever it is, please.
We're here to support you.
We're here to support you.
Thank you so much.
No
It's an honor for
conditions.
us.
It is an honor.
To have you on the podcast, and I think, ever since Omar told us, and I think the way that he told us that,
Oh, yeah.
he reached out to you, that was a memory by itself.
He
came to-
touched on a very sensitive subject, I have to admit.
He came to the office, and he texted us on our group, the Habano del Podcasto group. I was like, guys, we need to have a serious conversation in the office when you guys come. And the first thing that came to my mind was like, is this the end of Habano del Podcasto? We're just
is he
getting
gonna
started.
leave?
What's
Yeah.
happening? He walked into the meeting room. We booked the actual meeting room in the office. Riz, we're sorry, our boss, that we actually did that.
They're great guys.
So we sat in the room, and he came to us like, you guys know how, Habano del Podcasto is a passion for me and for all of us. And I think that, one thing that I'm really happy to share with you guys is that Raed from the LeafMaster, I got into his DMs. I slid into his DMs and I contacted him, and he's happy to join us on the pod. And I just looked at Tolham, and all I can see his eyes sparkling, and I'm like, that's it. I think that's the first step for Habano del Podcasto, and thank you so much, gentlemen, for
Thank you.
being
Thank you for
on
your
the
time.
podcast.
It's
And
an absolute honor, really.
and thank you
No,
for the
honors are
cigars.
ours.
Amazing cigars. Thank you so
Excellent.
much.
Excellent.
The stories behind them are, I would say, even better than smoking them, which I think is that, what the whole cigar is all about. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
guys.
Thank you
Thank you,
guys,
gentlemen.
and I will see you on the next one.
Excellent. Thank you.
So-